right? June 18th.
When you have
I would
600
say we would need
complaints
to
to
give them
figure out
30
what's
days.
there,
Right.
when you've got stacks of paper, takes
Well, I'm saying, like,
several
August
weeks.
1st?
I
And then
imagine.
No, I would say July
31st.
we have to send out letters.
Well, June 18th is only this year. It's always the third Tuesday. It's not always June 18th.
Yeah, some years
No, I'd
it's
say
the
June
20th,
18th
some
this year,
years.
I'd say,
Well, you don't draft a law for 1 year. You draft a law for
couldn't
perpetuity.
be the
So
first year we provide the window of opportunity to comply with the new law. Thereon
The second
after,
year.
it goes on the regular schedule.
you can,
Yeah, with penalties.
Usually June
With penalties.
1st,
right,
when they're normally...
right.
In other words, there's a grace period in the first year.
So you're suggesting the first year we cut them some slack, but give them notice and threaten them?
See, in this law, it's April 1, we want the I&E. Basically, if it was
it's not a
applied
threat,
across
though.
the board.
There's
Well,
no
it's a
threat.
fact.
It's a fact.
It's-
The fact is
this
that
is
if
the
you don't-
law,
if you
this
don't
is what we
comply,
require.
there will be a penalty.
All right, so give me a date that you think it makes sense. That's like, you got to plug in a date. You know, I need August 1st, July 30th, I mean...
Well, say August 1st.
All right, so by August 1st, they would have to file the I&E. Or penalty, or, you know,
Or pay a penalty.
or penalty, okay. Okay.
And we'll try and do that on June 4th at 7 p.m. And if you could set up a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce ahead of time.
I will notify them.
And Mr. Noto, if you could be there with us as well. Okay, sorry, I apologize for that taking so long, but I think it's important. I think it's important we apply it this year. And then, you know, look, if Councilman Collins, if you want to argue or advocate for a more far-reaching, you know, and if you convince the board at that meeting that you want to do that, then certainly, you know, we can discuss it that evening as well.
The other thing, too, Councilwoman Condos, keep in mind is that this is a step in that direction. Then this is only local law. This is one local law. We can do another local law.
Which might be
Which
the
may be-
avenue, considering I think that they are two separate
Correct.
set of challenges.
And ultimately, the best thing to do that I found when it comes to resolutions and laws like this is to build a consensus.
Right.
And if we can get, just like Supervisor Carter's going to do, he'll build a consensus with the representatives of the business community.
Sure.
Right? And get their support behind this local law. And then the next step would be to get the same business owners behind the next step, the Christina Collins local law.
I don't know if I like the sound of that or not. You know, I'll just go on record saying the one thing that I'm just going to advocate for is fairness. You know, you don't want the people who are following the law to being assessed correctly, you know, and then people who choose not to follow the law kind of get under-assessed possibly. You just want to make it as fair as possible. Want to make sure we're doing our efforts to get those I&Es from businesses the way that they're supposed to file them. You know, it's certainly not meant to penalize anybody. It's just meant so that we can get the most accurate and fair assessment on the rolls. And that's the goal.
Oh, can we modify, Town Attorney Noto, should we modify the existing law? Or you want to get a whole new law?
Well, yeah, this law is going to basically supersede and rescind that law, so, like I said, we have an existing law that requires I&Es. We get, what did you say, 20% compliance, is it?
27%.
That's what I'm saying, so I guess my question is, does it
And
make
there's
sense?
a penalty in there, by the way. It's a small penalty, but there's a penalty.
What's the penalty?
I don't have it in front of me, but it's a
Maybe increasing the
percentage, the same thing. We modeled it after the New York City law. I'm just trying to tell you, we got this all from the New York City law, which we all know now is
What
good.
was the penalty?
I can't remember what it was, but it was a
Whatever.
small penalty. It was the same thing, it was a percentage of the assessed value. We just never imposed it. Mitchell never imposed the penalty, but there is a
That's on
penalty.
Mitchell's fault.
No, it's not his fault, I'm just saying.
Wasn't it though? Let's be clear, it was not put in the law, the penalty.
I'm pretty sure it was.
I don't think it was. I don't
It's
think
not.
it was.
I'll have to look
It's always
it up.
my fault.
Especially if it was applied to all the commercial property owners.
I'll look it up for you.
Anyway,
We'll pull it
my
up.
only question is, if you just come up with the best, it may make more sense to simply modify the existing law.
We can do that as well. We'll look at the existing, well, the thing is, this law is going, the thing is, you don't want to have two I&E laws. So basically, you have, this this law is going to rescind and supersede that law, wipe and whatever, and then this will be your new INE law.
Beautiful.
We got Article 8 and Article 9.
The problem is then, but this is really only going to apply to people that file grievances, in which case other people will no longer be required to file an INE law.
But not one person has filed one, I don't know.
No, 20% or 30%.
No, no.
100%.
The cert filers.
Just for the record, I sent letters.
Wait, hold on, sorry.
Yeah, how many of the cert filers filed? Okay.
I sent letters.
No, that's the question. How many of the cert filers give us INEs?
Prior.
No, today.
I started to answer the question a little differently because I know that number. I sent out 222 requests to every commercial property that filed with the Board of Assessment Review in 2012, advising them that there is an existing INE law that mandates they submit INEs, otherwise they face the prospect of dismissal by the Board of Assessment Review. I received 27% responses. Of that 27%, probably 50% of those were, "Thank you very much, but we're not telling you anything."
Right. So
half.
No. That's of the 225, 27% responded to his letter. Of that,
Half said no thanks.
so it's 15%.
15%, okay.
I triggered it by people who complained to the bar.
That's all the...
That's the only.
Yeah.
I don't have that number. My
I'm
guess
also
is it's
curious
half.
of how many commercial properties we have versus how many of them
Yeah, so it's
submitted INEs.
225 versus 1,500. That's...
I have a list.
Mitchell, you gotta
Yeah,
listen.
I mean, now I'm just at
No,
this
sorry,
point,
Mitchell,
just
listen to
asking
the
as many
question.
questions as I
Okay.
can.
You sent letters to the 225 people that filed a commercial grievance, correct?
Yeah, with the Board of Assessment Review.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
225 people filed a commercial grievance out of 1,500 properties. So there's two subsets. One is 225, the other is 1,500. So of the 225,
How many filed certs?
less than 20%. Oh,
wow.
Filed certs, all of them did. We have 225 certs, all of them did. All of them did.
I would say
99%. There's one guy I forgot to. I don't know. I mean, 99%. I know that.
1,500, only 225 filed grievances.
Yeah, they all file certs. What do you think they file a grievance for?
I understand.
Yeah, they come in, Paul, somebody, 10%.
I know the speech, trust me.
It's a common at 10%.
I know, and they come in, it's only a legal strategy, I know you don't want to hear that.
I get
That
so
percent.
but I'm saying, so they all filed though. Let's agree they all filed.
So
not like
the
they come in.
225 file,
Right.
and so, I get it, so I
27%, 40-something.
So the 1,500 minus 225, of the 1,275 that don't file, how many of them are giving you INEs?
But all the
Wait,
INEs...
stop. How many of the 1,275 are giving you INEs?
I will define it as very close to zero, essentially
Thank you.
zero.
That's how all your laws work. You thought the law applied to the whole universe?
But there's no enforcement, Joe. There's no penalty. No one's enforcing the penalty. But all the INEs I'm getting now is it after they file the notification, because I'm getting INEs.
Let me make a comment about penalties, okay?
No. Save it for the public hearing. Save it for the public hearing. Save it for the public hearing.
Mr. Supervisor.
Okay, Mr. Decresenzo. So, last comment from Mr. Marcus. What do you want to say about the penalties?
Penalty, there's a commonly accepted notion that penalties raise the rate of compliance quite a bit,
Yeah, of course they are.
and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you very much. And by the way, your Board of Assessment Review is going to love this law. Every one of them.
Yeah, no, I'm all for the penalty.
Sorry,
I'm for the
Mr.
original law. I think it
Apologies,
should apply across the board.
Mr. Decresenzo, okay, so we got to award this contract?
Yes, we have reviewed the 7 bids that we received, and we have Landy Contracting. Their bid was evaluated, the references were checked, excuse me, and they are being recommended as the company to do the work.
Jesus, look
Look at this
of
range,
bids.
I was just noticing it. I mean, my
Incredible,
goodness.
their range.
So just for the public at home to know, it's going from 26,000 to 281,000. Wow. All right, well, and these guys are good, they're valid, they're...
Yes, we checked all their references and
Beautiful.
evaluated their
Good
bid
work.
was...
Great work, Mr. Decresenzo. Any questions for Mr. Decresenzo?
When is the job supposed to begin?
When we can arrange it to coincide with the tides, because the job has to be done at low tide, so within the next week or two, it will be able to be scheduled.
Okay, and then what are they estimating as far as the repair? How long?
He said it should take him about a week. When he has that week of low tide, he should be able to complete the job in that 1 week.
Okay, very good. so we may be good to go by next month.
Yes, yes.
Great.
Cool.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve this resolution.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, temporary maintenance, we did all right, so
Do you
we're
want
good.
him to just go into his,
Yeah, why don't you go into your...
Okay. Does anybody have any questions, first of all?
No, I think,
you did an amazing job.
great job, keep it going, good work.
The information is
Appreciate it.
great.
Okay,
That's good.
and what I'll have for you next month is there's a small maintenance phase of that project, but we decided to do it separately
Good.
because it's two different skills. And I didn't want the contractor who's rebuilding the wall to have to subcontract to do the maintenance on the bridge, so we separated out. So we're still going to come in way under bid on that whole project.
I think that's fantastic, and I definitely appreciate phasing it out and dealing with each phase appropriately.
And the Jefferson Avenue Bridge is moving along slowly, but it's moving.
Yeah, I saw it the other day.
And hopefully they won't do any more work that'll slow us down, and hopefully by the fall the bridge will be open and operating with no problem.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Decresenzo.
Thanks.
Mr. Marcus, did you have anything else? Are you, okay,
I'd
yep.
like to just add
Yep.
one quick note for mostly the public
Yep.
at this point. Early next month, early June, sometime on or about June 1st, everyone in the town will be receiving assessment notices for the year 2013. We'll tell you what last year's assessment was, this year's proposed assessment, and we'll advise you of the fact that if you disagree with the assessment, the time period to make a complaint is between June 1 and June 18. I will add that the majority of taxpayers will see no to a very minor change in their assessment. I would urge anybody who receives a change of assessment notice to look at the notice, to think about what the value of their property is, and in the event that they think the town assessor or the town is incorrect, they should first look at the sales which would be comparable to your house. Those will be provided both online and in my office on the computer, so anybody can look at all the sales that took place in the past year within the town of Rye. If they believe that there's any incorrect data on their property, they should contact us, make an appointment for an inspection. We'll be happy to do an inspection to update any property record, and everybody should just pay attention to the notice.
So if you don't like your value, June 1st to June 18th, don't forget, if you don't like the value, you're more than happy to challenge it, June 1st to June 18th. You have to file a grievance by no later than June 15th.
Yes, and all the forms will be available online, in the office. The notice will tell them where they can get them.
We're offering interviews with Vision, not this year, right?
No, we are not.
Okay. And by the way, okay, any questions for Mr. Markowitz?
I actually have a question.
Yep.
Month after month after month, Goldie comes up here, and it has to be for years, and says about these group homes that are off the roll.
Mm-hmm.
They're totally off the roll?
I believe the answer is yes.
And is that...
State law.
It's a state law.
It's a state law.
Which
State
group
law.
homes are we talking about?
It's not just group homes, it's non-for-profit, so it's certain,
Churches.
yes, specific types of non-for-profit, so churches, group homes.
What's a group home?
Schools.
Mentally disabled homes, or homes for physically disabled, or, basically,
Okay.
State
I
run.
didn't realize that was a state law.
yeah, and I believe,
All
Portchester more so, she's speaking specifically to Portchester, not necessarily our villages of Rybrook or Rye-Neck, but I believe Portchester is 13,
Yep.
which is considered, in our small amount of mileage, to be somewhat overpopulated compared to the rest of the country.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Where is Vision Appraisal with the physical inspections?
They have finished putting the data into the database. We're in the process of generating reports as we speak.
Because again, that's an expensive program.
And we will have a discussion about that in the coming week or two.
All right, now the thing is, I want to if we're not getting the bang for the buck, we should discontinue that program. I'm not paying them this year.
Understood.
So
And
are
that's
they
why
aware of
we're
that?
going to have a discussion.
I know, because they're way late with, they're way late with
In
this report.
fairness to them,
We had the storm.
The storm fouled everything up. It put the whole
Yeah, that's
schedule
still
up by
4 months.
weeks. Then there was Thanksgiving. Then there was Christmas.
Those were predictable.
Right.
The schedule never, yes. But everything got thrown
I'm
off.
saying, just make clear to them.
I had that discussion as late as this afternoon.
Oh, wonderful.
And I
Okay.
told Dave Arnold to be prepared for a discussion.
All right,
Okay.
okay.
Okay?
Beautiful. Thanks very much. Thank you, Mr.
You're very
Markowitz.
welcome.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Byrnes?
Provided the board a copy of the tax receivables as of April 30th, and in April, we made the schools whole for about $1.7 million, so they received, so we have outlaid that money, and that's still a receivable for the town. So the receivables continually change as we make whole. The next make whole date is June 1st for the 2 villages, and the big make whole date is October 15th for Westchester County.
Could you prepare with the town accountant cash projection between now and the next meeting? Actually,
Yes.
as soon as possible.
We talked today.
All right, if you could prepare a cash projection for where we are as soon as possible and circulate that by email to the board.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Byrnes?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Byrnes, thank you. Is this, well, do you want to do in-rem? Oh, here, well, Honorable Mr. Mecca.
No report.
No report, okay. Okay, well, I wanted to ask in-rem, should we talk about, well, Mr. Noto, in-rem, how are we doing with in-rem?
Well, we collected a lot of money. We're down to three properties that it looks like of the 3, 2 we've probably taken rem because they haven't answered.
Do we have a list of those here?
Yeah, if you look on page 6, these are the 3 that are before the court for us to take title. Barlick has indicated he doesn't care, he doesn't want the property. K&M said they're going to pay at the end of this month, but I didn't exempt them from the motion. And Brescia, we've not heard a word from, so I'm assuming we're going to get that 38 Washington Mews. So these 3 are and there's 3 others that have payments pending. So we actually did pretty well this year.
So sorry, so you're telling me Bowman Avenue?
Bowman's said they're going to pay by the end of the month. That's $66,770.16.
Right. Aren't we way past where we are normally on these?
No, I made the motion back in March, still waiting for the court to sign off on it, so.
These are not from last year?
No, this is the current 2012 that started, and they start really in August. And,
When do we normally foreclose on these properties?
well, it's in the spring when the judge gives me the order to do it. We start the process in August, and then the redemption's usually at the end of the year, and then we make a motion in,
So what's the
January.
likelihood we foreclose on these properties, do you think?
Good. These 2, definitely. Oriole Place and 38 Washington Mews, I'm pretty confident will be ours. And K&M's going to pay, so we don't want the property as long as they pay. So I'm not going to file a deed if
What is K&M?
It's Kip Konigsberg's property. It's been around for a long time.
Behind the Roybridge Shopping Center.
Yeah.
They're developing that.
Right.
Behind Roybridge, the swamp.
So, okay, all right. Obviously, he's got a lot of money at risk here.
Yeah, he does. He'll pay. He's always pushes the envelope. He'll pay.
And we haven't heard from Washington Mews?
Not a word. No, not a word from Washington Mews or Barlick.
We tried to reach out to Washington Mews?
Oh yeah. We sent letters and we've called. We can't.
Do we have a phone number? Okay.
No correspondence whatsoever.
So when do we expect to get that property taken over?
As soon as the judge signs the order, any day.
All right. So
Well, the motion was returnable in March. It's already May. But
That's what I thought. Okay, so we're close.
Yeah.
Any day. All right, great. Thank you, Mr. Noto. Town Clerk Vespia.
I submitted my report, no comment.
Okay, thank you so much. Crawford Park. Is there something we got to talk about, Crawford Park? No.
I do have a question. Can you give us just a quick update on the painting of the room? Where we are with that?
We've had a couple of painters come in, take a look at it. The low bid right now is $8,900.
Which room are we
to
talking
paint one room.
The blue room,
That's the,
when you walk in on the right.
what we call the serving room or the buffet room or what have
Excuse me,
you.
I'm sorry, is this paint or Venetian plaster?
That's exactly the point. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a set of specifications out and create an official bid document for it because...
Get some kids from college or high school,
I was going to
right?
say, I mean,
Well, you want to do a little better than that.
yeah, but I think it looks terrible now having it half painted with
agreed,
our swatches up
agreed.
there. We'll never rent that
Tom's
space.
volunteer right there.
So we will have
Can I get my
it...
painters? You know,
We will have it painted before the end of June.
before the end of June.
Before the end of June, it'll be painted.
Okay,
That's okay.
All right?
yeah.
Reach out
I
to
want to make
Missy.
sure, because
Missy will be there.
it's like renting season now, right? So I'm sure that our renters would appreciate that room being painted without a bunch of swatches on their wall.
Yes.
Although he did a fantastic job putting the swatches up, they look nice. But there are several options at the moment.
Well, you know what an option is? I mean, I'd like to, please speak to our caretaker
I was going to say.
and ask him if he would take that on as a job. We're paying him an hourly rate anyway. We buy the materials, he does the work.
I agree. I was going to
So
say
after
that.
Mr. Servy's comment tonight, he's on thin ice. Yeah, ask him.
I'll ask, but I'm not confident.
All right, okay.
Okay, it's worth
Okay.
asking. Worst anyone can ever say is no.
Absolutely right. Councilwoman Collins.
Yes, I'm going to try and keep it brief, but I do have a couple
Yep.
questions. To follow up on something Goldie had said, are we getting a table at Portchester Day? I do.
Great question. And if you volunteer to man it, we're done. Yes, the answer is yes if you want.
Okay, so I'll follow up on that. I'll be happy to take a look at my calendar and
Well,
maybe
that
we
was,
can work out some
actually,
sort
I'm
of...
not going to be here, but I thought it was a wonderful suggestion.
I'm
think it
never
is a
here
good
for it
idea.
because they do it so late in the season.
24th
that
of August.
It's August. It's the most popular time for people to go away. It's a tough sell for
But I do
people.
think it's a good suggestion.
But if we're around or if anybody's
Yep.
around, it would be great to get some representation there. Also, I would just like to thank the Carver Center. They invited me to come over for a tour, and I went today, and it was great to see the facility. It was long overdue. It's something I've been wanting to do, and just have to appreciate the efforts they put forth, especially for our kids. Gives them a great opportunity, somewhere to go, and all the activities they do. So thank you to them for their hospitality and for all they do for the community. And just a little side project that I'm working on in terms of the History Week that Mr. Feynman had talked about several weeks ago. I'm not sure where he is with that, but I did commit to doing something with Crawford Park, and with help from Dave Thomas, I am framing some photographs of the Crawfords and what the mansion looked like back when, and I am hopeful to put them in one of the built-in cabinets in the blue room when it's done. Nice sort of black and white vintage photos and some simple white frames. It's a built-in cabinet with shelving and lighting, and right now nothing's in there. So I thought it'd be a nice hats off to the Crawford family, and
Great idea,
also
yeah.
have a little bit of classy character to add to our paint. So
Thank you.
little side project I'm working on there.
Great, thank you so much, Councilwoman Collins. Councilwoman Nacino?
I just have a quick question. I know you
Sure.
mentioned before how with the award tonight, how you got the suggestion for it, but it just seems like I do love giving out these awards. I think it's great that we do this for the community, but I just wondered who chooses who's going to get these awards, and can the board know ahead of time?
Yeah, and when
Yes, and that's, thank you very much for asking that question. You're absolutely right. We can do this any way we want. It could be the supervisor's award if we want, or if the board wants to fully participate, we do that. I apologize, you're right, I didn't give sufficient notice this time because we wanted to do it this time with Bishop Gertman. He just celebrated his 37th anniversary in
No,
the church.
that's perfect.
But I think we should
I
come
think
up...
it's
We're not
fantastic.
saying
No, I understand,
anything.
exactly.
I just wondered.
Well, we should, so let's go, do you want to, it's late tonight, but do you want to propose a procedure for how we do this? Because I think it does make sense to have a procedure.
I think we should have something in place
Yeah.
just to give us a little bit of credibility in our
Yes.
selection
Yep.
process.
So would you want to propose a procedure? I mean, we could, recommend and come up with a committee that approves it. We want to just come up with a procedure and recommend, and I think that's absolutely correct. And I think that's the way we, I know we're all fully supportive of Bishop Gertman, but we should have a more formal procedure.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any other questions? Councilman Neoris?
No comment.
Thank you. Deputy Supervisor Villanova?
No comment.
Okay, now I've got mine down to about 45 minutes. No, just a couple of quick things. Mr. Arcaro, the African-American cemetery ceremony is this Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. So at the African-American cemetery, Memorial Day weekend, a big weekend. I know Mr. Noto likes to be there early, so 10 o'clock, African-American cemetery, 10 o'clock this Saturday, Memorial Day weekend. And then secondly, obviously Memorial Day weekend, Monday, Memorial Day, for those that want to, I don't know if Mayor Logan is going to do it again this year. Is he? Oh, wonderful. Well, Mayor Logan, God love him, and I hope eventually he's going to be one of our community first people as well. I'd love to see him, honor him for all that he does for our community. And so he starts at 8:45 down at the Marina. No, Deputy Supervisor Villanova is there almost every year, and we go from War Memorial to War Memorial, finishing up at 11 o'clock at the Memorial Park, Veterans Memorial Park, on North Regent Street and Westchester Avenue. So that's 11 o'clock, and we'll be at the Korean War Memorial at 10:45. I hope in Crawford Park's looking great. It usually is, and hopefully that will be looking great again on Monday. Just quickly, the dissolution of the town. I want to update everybody where we are. Again, Assembly Otis is working long hours, yeoman-like work. Where the situation is that he's trying to find a solution for Rye Neck. And if he can find a solution for Rye Neck, then he's hoping that we can get home rule legislation by the end of June. And if that happens, then it goes to each of the municipalities for a board vote. And if each of the municipalities is in favor, then it will go to a referendum in November. If we miss the June deadline, then we're really back into next year. If you hit the June deadline, you'd have a November vote, but you'd still have 14 months or 13 months of execution, and the town would dissolve January 2015. That's on the current accelerated time frame, if you call it accelerated. If we miss the June deadline, then you're really looking at next November 2014 vote, a year of execution, so you're talking January 2016. One thing I'd like to thank the town employees for working so hard and continuing to work hard in such a volatile, uncertain environment. Town Honorable Mr. Mecca, Town Clerk Vesby have been absolutely fantastic throughout, as have the town employees. So I just wanted to make sure we have that update where we are. Okay, now we have an executive session, is that right?
Yeah.
What, contract negotiations? So we're going to break in, can I get a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Second.
I didn't second it.
I think,
Michelle?
No, it wasn't Michelle. It wasn't Michelle. She was not